Okay, so if you've taken a look at the event management guide on the website, you'll notice that there's a bunch of QR codes spread throughout the document. Now the idea here is that if you have a print version, rather than having to type in the links for everything, you can just take your smartphone and scan the QR code and then open up to whatever website it is. So this first one that's on the cover page, it just takes you to my home page. So you can see that the QR code just takes you directly to rikermedical.com. Now moving forward, if you scroll down to some of the content, so let's skip on down to just an arbitrary section, this one on dead space. Go down to the bottom of the first page. There's two links here. So on the electronic version, you can just click the links and it'll take you to the website, which is pretty cool. But if you have a print version, you can also scan the QR code and it'll take you to the website this way. Now, one thing with the QR codes is that they direct you from the image, so from this image here, directly to a URL. And you notice that the URL that I used here is not the one at the website. It's not this one here. There's two reasons for that. The first one is that the size of a QR code, like how many little black boxes in that white background, it's a function of how long the URL is. So if I did a QR code straight to this website, my QR code would be super detailed. It'd have a bunch of little tiny dots and I wouldn't be able to make it as small. Okay, so that's one reason. The second reason is that things shift on the internet. So right now, this web page is at this URL, but if the host of this web page decided that they wanted to change the URL destination, my QR code here, if I link directly to that URL and then it changed, it would give me like a broken link code, which I want to avoid. So what I did was I made a QR code that links you to my website, a subdomain on my website called references.rikermedical.com / the name of, just like a little tag I added on for that specific reference. So that allows me to control where that QR code goes in the future if the URL changes. It also allows me to make a QR code that's less detailed so I can put it smaller on the print version. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the steps of how I did this. So I use a QR code generator called QR Code Monkey. My website is hosted on Wix, and then I manage this subdomain on GoDaddy. So we're going to walk through each of those steps one at a time so that if you wanted to do something like this, you'll know how to do it on your document or project or whatever it is you're working on. I use a website called QR Code Monkey to make all of my QR codes. So it's super simple to use. You just go to the website here, come down here to your content, and you put the destination URL that you want, and then come over onto the right, hit create QR code, and then that QR code will take you to whatever URL I put in. Now just to demonstrate, I'm going to download this and scan it in with my smartphone app here so I can show you how it works. So I've got that QR code. I bring this guy over top, scan it in, and then I'm at my website. Now I mentioned already that the problem with doing a QR code like this is that this image here will forever and ever for the history of the internet take you to this URL. But if I decide to change the name of my website or get a new URL, I have to make all new QR codes. That means if I have something in print, all those links will go to a broken website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a QR code that goes permanently to a URL, and then from that URL I'm going to redirect it somewhere else, and I can control that redirect. Now there are services within QR Code Monkey or other QR code generators, and they can build you what are called dynamic QR codes, which allow that same functionality. The problem is that dynamic QR codes cost a lot to build because you're paying somebody else to manage them. They also typically come with other features, as you can see here. I decided I didn't need any of those features. I just wanted to be able to build the QR codes and do the redirect on my own. So that's where we're going to go from here. All right, the next step in this process is to set up your domain to do these redirects. So go to GoDaddy.com, click on the drop-down menu, come over to Hosting, down to Web Hosting, and then The economy version of this works well enough for what we're doing here. It's pretty cheap, especially if you do over a longer term. So just select that, and then you do like a normal checkout, like a normal online purchase. In that process, you're going to pick your URL, like pick your name. So for mine, I chose references.rikermedical.com, and then they assign you an IP address. So here's my IP address. Now you're going to take those two pieces of information over to, for me, in my case, I do my website on Wix. So I'm going to take those two pieces of information over to Wix and then set it up so everything's linked together. So I'm at my dashboard on Wix. I come over here to manage domain, and then click on this little guy, manage DNS records. And then in these first two fields, the one that's called a host and CNAME, I want to put the information from GoDaddy onto here. So in the first one under where it says a host, I'm going to add a record, and then I put my URL here, and then my IP address. All right, and then under CNAME, I'm going to add a record that says cpanel.rikermedical.com, and then the value I'm going to do references.rikermedical.com. That's the one that I chose on GoDaddy. Okay, and then I save that, and now I can go back to GoDaddy. This is my dashboard there. I want to go to File Manager. So File Manager, come down to Public, double click on that one, and then the .htaccess is the spot where we're going to do all of our building of these redirects. So highlight that and click on Edit, and that's just acknowledging that you can mess things up if you do this wrong. And then here you can see all of my redirects. So we'll just show you one example here. So this first redirect I have, it's the redirect code, and then I do /ards2000.html. I leave a space, and then I put the URL. Now this links to an ARDSNet trial from 2000, and I'll just show you how that works. So if I go over here into a new page, references.rikermedical.com/ards2000.html, it takes you right to the New England Journal of Medicine page where the original study was hosted, which is kind of cool. Okay, so to show you how to build one from scratch, let's go back to our htaccess page. We'll go all the way down the bottom here, and let's make a new line. So we're going to type redirect space, do a slash, and we're going to go abc123.html, leave a space, http://, and we'll go to Google. All right, and then save changes. So now if I go here to references.rikermedical.com/abc123.html, we get to Google. All right, so that's how it works. We start out at GoDaddy, and we do the economy hosting plan. We get that set up. We take that information over to, in my case, I'm using Wix. If you're using another platform to build your website, I'm sure there's a comparable way. I just don't know how to explain that one. You take that information, your URL and your IP address, over to Wix. You plug it into that DNS server template. So I did it here, and then I can manage my htaccess page. And you can essentially add as many of these things as you want. They hardly take up any data. So I think I have like 200 for this one project. But as I built more projects, I just tag them onto the end. Like there's essentially no limit to how many of these things you can do, at least as I understand this thing. There's probably actually a limit. So yeah, that's how it works up to this point. Last step here is I'm just going to show you how to build one of these QR code references from start to finish. The video is going to play in double speed, and I'm just going to kind of narrate it as we go through. So right now we're logging into GoDaddy.com. We already covered this. So we're just going to go to our file manager and get to our htaccess page so we can make things happen. And then when we get there, I organize all mine kind of alphabetically, and there's like a couple different sections. So I'm going to find where this particular reference fits in alphabetically. I'm going to type redirect space backslash and then whatever tag I want, .html, and then I'm going to take the URL from the original source and put it in there, and then I'll save it. And then I'm going to go back to the Word document and add a link. And there's a typo in here, but I'll show you how it catches it. So the link didn't work, and there you go. Now I can follow the link from my Word document, and it works great. So the next step is I want to build a QR code for that reference. So using that references.rikermedical.com / the tag that I made for McIntyre 2014. I have a QR code, and I'm just going to double check it on the computer now using this like QR code scanner app. Awesome, so it works. And then I'm going to save this, so rename the file and save it. And then I'm going to go back to my Word document and insert that at the bottom of the page. And then it's a little funky because it always comes to like the largest size possible, and you have to resize it and do a little bit of formatting. And then since it is a reference cited, I gotta go to the end to my references page and do it over again real quick. And you can see that like doing this references this way, it's like a little bit more labor intensive than just doing like a standard works cited or references page, because every time you add something you have to go back and reformat. I imagine there's a way to do it where you can set it up to like automatically accommodate this format. I just haven't got that far, so for now this is the way I'm doing it. If you have any advice on how to make that happen, that would be greatly appreciated for future versions. And then the last step that I do is all these things that I'm linking to, I save copies of them on my computer, and that way if the content gets taken down from the internet, for some reason it's no longer there, I can always host that. For example, I can host this PDF, this paper on my website, keep the same QR code, and then redirect to a new location. So there you have it. That's how it works, very start to very finish.